Let's talk about tarot and oracle cards, what they are, how they're different, how they're similar, what you can use them for, and everything from your fears and skepticisms about them. Let's start with tarot. So tarot is a specific 78 card deck that is the same across all different sets. Now they can have different themes. This specifically is the Rider-Waite deck. This is the classic tarot that you will see, and you can tell like the imagery is like a certain way. This is the very classic form of things. Now I also have other decks such as the Mystical Fairy deck and the Mystical Cats tarot deck. So as you can see, the imagery on these are very different. One has like kind of these divine feminine and masculine figures of fairies, and the other one are all different cats. My personal favorite, by the way. So all three of these decks have 78 cards. They go through the same suits, kind of similar to a playing card deck where you have a suit of hearts and spades and whatever. These have traditionally what's known as like the wands, the swords, the pentacles, and the cups. In something like the Mystical Cats Tarot, those are just swapped with their associated elements, so air, fire, water, and earth. They all have three major categories: the major arcana, minor arcana, and the court cards. So the major arcana in a reading represents big life themes, a big perspective, something that is going on in your life that could span between like a year, few years, a big change in your life, that type of stuff. Versus the minor arcana cards deal more with the day-to-day. So if you think about a reading like a story, the cards that you pull will tell you a story. So let's say that I'm shuffling and a major arcana card pops up, and then a court card pops up, and then a minor arcana card pops up. Well, that major arcana card can tell you kind of like the overarching theme of the reading deals with this specific situation that's going on in your life right now. It could be a career, it could be a relationship, it could be even a thought pattern or a belief that keeps coming up that needs to be questioned or looked at and examined further. The court card, those represent people in your life. Most often they represent yourself, but if you look at the card and it doesn't really resonate with you, you can try to see if maybe some other people is represented by that card. Maybe a partner, a coworker, a boss, a person that you're seeing, a friend, a sibling, like literally anybody in your life, and that could be representative of their energy. So in that reading of major arcana, court card, and the minor arcana card, it could be basically saying like in this life transition that you're going through, or in this stage of your life, this person is really important for these reasons, and then this is kind of how to see that in your day-to-day, or things to kind of look out for in your day-to-day. When you're using tarot, there's multiple spreads that you can use, everything from 1 card to 10 cards to 16 cards and plus. It just really depends on the level of depth that you want and what it is that you want to get clarity on, what you want advice on. Oracle cards now work very similarly as tarot does, except there is no set number of cards, there's no set theme, and each one is unique to whoever has created them. The oracle cards that I use is by Saint Soleil, and it's called Child of the Universe. I particularly love these cards just because of the way that they look. They are gorgeous, like black and gold, and you can see that this one is Magic Wand. So oracle cards can range anywhere literally from like 30 cards to 60, maybe even 80 cards. I haven't seen any of those, but there's not a set number, and they can pull wisdom from different things. This one pulls from the wisdom of planets, moon phases, zodiac signs, as well as celestial messages. So Magic Wand, the one that you just saw, is a celestial message. There's also like you could pull Virgo, for example, and that could be representative of you or the energy of the situation, channeling that energy of Virgo, which is very structured, organized, day-to-day kind of planning, a lot of that type of stuff. If you pulled something like Jupiter, which is a planet, that planet represents this energy of a lot of bigness, a lot of energy, just a lot of things going on. It's huge, it's massive, it's a massive planet. So it could be like this really big thing in your life that's happening, or something that's requiring a lot of energy. And those are some of the fun ways that you can use oracle cards. There's multiple different decks out there. There's ones that it could be a specific phrase, it could be a sentence, a mantra, an affirmation, it could just be a keyword like freedom or humility, and it has an image associated with that. With both of these types of cards, with tarot and oracle, you can take the literal meaning of the card, the words of the cards, and read from that standpoint. You can look at the imagery of the card and intuitively kind of see what you see there and create meaning from that. You can also take the number of the card, and if you are into numerology or know anything about numerology, you can use that to kind of help guide you as well. You also can use a combination of all three. It really just depends on what you are intuitively guided to, on what kind of gets you going and makes you curious, what lights you up, what really resonates with you. And as a reader, what I do is I help give you those multiple types of interpretations using the meanings, the imagery, and the words of the cards, the traditional meaning of the cards as well, if they have some. Most decks come with a guide. For example, tarot cards, they have assigned meanings to each card. They can go very in depth into the definitions. So sometimes the traditional meaning can really hit home for a lot of people. Otherwise, something like oracle cards or other types of tarot cards, they have other guidebooks that go deeper into each individual card and give them assigned meaning from that as well. They also can be pulled upright or reversed. So those have different meanings. Like a reversal can mean a blocked energy. It can mean the opposite meaning. It can mean the energy of the card, but to an extreme. It could be a specific challenge or obstacle that's coming in the way. And it could also mean that that energy is being, resisted in some way. So as you can see, you can really go into a rabbit hole with tarot and oracle cards, and it's really up to you in the session of what your intention is, based off of what we talk about within the session as well, and kind of what your situation is, that we can start seeing what is going to be the most relevant information that comes up, and how does the cards and what they want to tell you, what your spirit wants to tell you, what the universal guidance wants to tell you, how that's going to get transmitted through is really based off of what resonates in yourself. That's how you're going to know the truth. Okay, so now that you understand a little bit about how they work, how they're read, and the intention behind these cards, I want to address some fears that are surrounding tarot and oracle cards. I think one major one is this fear around the devil card as well as the death card. And those do not mean literal there is a devil present, or there is a devil within you, or you're going to die. It doesn't mean any of those things. They are metaphorical meanings. Now, that being said, I am sure you can probably find stories where it was literal in some sense. I don't know. But I would probably say 99.99% of the time, it's always metaphorical, because these are just images, these are just tools, spiritual tools to help convey meaning to you, to serve as insight, to serve as warnings, to serve as guiding points and kind of arrows and direction in your life that resonates with you. Okay, so if you kind of keep that lens of this is just a communication tool, then it can kind of help lessen that fear and that anxiety of getting those cards. Also, understanding the true meanings of those cards can be really helpful. The death card, for example, just means that it could be a death of a situation. It could be a completion of a cycle, which can be a really beautiful card. It could be saying that you're nearing the death of this old version of yourself that no longer serves you. It could be kind of it could bring sadness, like the death of a relationship, because you're trying to get understanding about what's going on between you and this person that you've been talking to. They may have been, feeling kind of sketchy, but you've been not wanting to ignore those red flags. And this card can be very confrontational and be like, look, there is a death of this relationship. This is, the death of the way that you were seeing this person. There is a death in the way of you being this very like tacit person who's kind of like giving the benefit of the doubt. There is a death to this illusion, this way that you're seeing this person or approaching these relationships. And it could be an opportunity for you to actually grow and get and change and evolve and learn from these situations that you have been in. And if that card is reversed, remember, reversal can mean opposite meaning. It could mean blocked energy. It could mean that you're resisting that change. And if you resist those changes, if you resist ending those patterns, completing those patterns and changing them, you could be just hurting yourself, right? Kind of like holding on to something that is dying, that has died, and is now just decaying and stinking up your life and your mind and your spirit. This is why it's also really helpful to have a professional reader help you interpret these cards and give you different perspectives to kind of chew on. If the one that your brain wants to offer you feels like it's coming from fear, feels like it's coming from criticism or judgment, or something that's like outside of what's in your highest and best, maybe like coming from the brain instead of the body and the soul, then it can be really helpful to have that person discern for you, with you, and see what is it that's truly resonating here. What is it about this card, about this reading, about this situation that's bringing these things up for you and helping you get clarity in what the message is trying to be communicated is, and how you can use that in your life moving forward. All in all, tarot and oracle are really fun ways to help you get more intimate and know yourself deeper. It's really a reflection of what you already know. It is honestly just an honor, and it's so fun for me, and it is so pleasurable for me to be able to facilitate this whole situation for you, to facilitate this conversation between you and your spirit, and also invite in my spirit, the child of wonderment, and my intuitive gifts to help you create a more meaningful life, to help you get more clarity on where it is that you want to go and be confident in your next decision. If you want to book a reading with me, all the information is going to be down below, so just check that out, and I hope to work with you soon.